he is the indigenous of Katsina State and hailed from local government area of Katsina State. All his schools he attended and the educational qualification he obtained were within the boundaries of Katsina State, Kaduna State, Kano State, and Co. Professor Amina Ado, he started his working experience and academic responsibilities from Kaduna. He's a polytechnic done before he became the university done. He started as a lecturer in Kaduna, Kaduna. He rose up to the position of chief lecturer, that is the upper echelon status, the apex position somebody will reach in Polytechnic. So he reached that position as chief lecturer in Kaduna Polytechnic. Concomitantly, before reaching that, he was on secondment in Federal University, Dusama. He started as lecturer one with secondment appointment. From that lecturer one, also he rose to the position of professor of microbiology in Federal University, Dusama. So, and also concomitantly, Professor Amina Ado serving as visiting lecturer since from the Card Poly Kaduna to Umar Musa Adwa University, the Bachelor of Microbiology. So, being him as university done, he was once the head of department, I think the pioneer head of biological science in Puduma, as well as head of department of microbiology in Puduma, the dean, acting dean of life, faculty of life science, and dean of health sciences in Puduma. Also a provost, two-term provost of College of Health Sciences in Puduma. Up to now, presently he is the provost of College of Health Science Puduma, and 2 terms BBC academic. And many a times serving as acting vice chancellor when the vice chancellor is not on the seat of the Puduma. So being in all these positions, academic responsibility held, you can imagine there are a lot of responsibilities attached to all these offices, being HOD, Dean, DPC, and others. There are some automatic positions attached to them. So I don't want to take our time to be mentioning all the responsibilities held. But assuming somebody as head of department, as dean, as DPC, and others. Professor Amina Ado is an associate member of the Nigerian Society for Microbiology and the American Society for Microbiology, as well as being him as a long teacher. He is registered with the Teachers Council of Nigeria, TRCN. He has more than 40 publications ranging from textbooks. He has many textbooks written since the Polytechnic up to the university level. Tertiary textbooks and also book chapters and many journals articles published in well-recognized national and international journals, as well as he presented more than 30 talks in the conference papers within Nigeria and outside Nigeria. Professor Amina Ado he served as supervisor and mentor, not only to the speaker now. He's my mentor, he was my mentor, he will continue to be my mentor. And he's the mentor of the organizing, all the LOT in the Department of Microbiology who organized this conference. Professor Amina Ado is our mentor, including our students who become the lecturers now, is all our mentor. So he's our grandpa in microbiology. He supervised more than 40 undergraduate projects, more than 20 HND projects while at Kaduna Polytechnic, more than 20 PG students, ongoing and completed project, both MSc and PhD students under his good mentorship. Professor Amina Ado is the member of a lot of editorial member of a lot of journals, including UJMR, OU Journal of Microbiology Research. Here, and also lots of journals in Pudua and other universities. And he served as internal and external supervisor to most of the PG students, both masters and PhD students. Professor Amina Ado, in him as he belonged to the Galadanshi dynasty. He is a type of both maternal and paternal. He's from the Galadanshi, his mom and his dad. So he is a traditional title holder of certain Sarakin Galadima. Sarakin Galadima Katara Hakim Malafashi. And so he was a dynasty of that, and all while the Galadanshi are in the whole country, from emanating from Kano State, from Bichi local governments. He visited many countries in Africa, Asian, Middle East, and Europe. He has been there, I know, last couple of years back in Chicago, in America, and then and others. So he has vast of experience. His area of academic research interest is very wide. When I knew in microbiology, he has been teaching a lot of in all the areas of microbiology, medical microbiology, environmental microbiology, food and industrial microbiology, and pharmaceutical microbiology. Has been teaching many courses in Putma, in OMU, and other universities. So Professor Amina Ado is happily married with children. Permit me to introduce our gentle professor, our keynote speaker, and my brother who will talk to us on this touching and modern topic in microbiology. Professor Ta.
You need this one, or I should just operate? Okay, you can operate from. Okay.
I would like to start by thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us the opportunity to be here. And I will begin my presentation by Bismillah, as my elder brother, the DBC Academy, started. And finally, I will say Alhamdulillah. Professor Bashir Abdul Qadir actually is a younger brother, but the overdose he gave on my citation, I felt I'm far below that. I was afraid when he was mentioning many things to do with me. Actually, I started visiting OMU 2016 to date. And importantly, every year they renew my appointment, and I took it as a duty. As an indigenous of the state, I had a duty, a responsibility. I could remember when I was undergraduate, normally first semester, they pay us 500 naira and 400 naira second semester, and that's how we were used to pursue our studies. And Alhamdulillah, the state government did well for us. So I always feel happy when I'm in UMYU because I took it a responsibility to deliver. The topic of the discussion today, I was so surprised because when I was asked to present, I had nothing in mind. But because of the concern I have for UMYU, when I was asked to be a presenter, I took it.
David, bring anointing oil.
Bioremediation, we mentioned that. Next slide, please. Oh, that's all.
No.
Biofertilizing bacteria, I don't want to be too academic, but these are some of them as we are aware: nitrogen-fixing bacteria, phosphorus solubilizing bacteria, PGPR. All these are useful in agriculture, organic farming, and environmental remediation. Biodegradation, using biodegrading bacteria. Some of them are mentioned there. We can go to the next slide. Microbial pest control also it will ensure and can help to improve food security. Microbial forensic, when you analyze microbial communities found around or on individual objects for the environment, all this can aid in crime or criminal investigations. Microbiome differs with individual. Environmental microbes differs with soil, with environment, even waters, etc., etc. So you can use them as a tool to detect insecurity. These are some of the roles of microbes in mitigating the insecurity. In food security, you can use them in agricultural productivity, as we mentioned, in food preservation, in environmental security, like bioremediation, as we mentioned, even climate change mitigation. So microbes can be very useful in combating these polluted substances in the air and make the air well adequate and even. Next, please. The human health security is another factor. When diseases are prevented, vaccines are developed, this will go a long way in ensuring security. Economic security is another factor. Through the application of biotechnology, you can make use of biological system and you can produce products that can benefit mankind. Waste management is another factor, because when waste are not managed well, it can also expose people to insecurity. I could remember some countries that doesn't even allow you to go to some of these facilities. For example, where water is being treated or waste are being treated because of security issue. I could remember when I traveled some years back, but they said they doesn't allow foreigners to go there. And this is security issue because of issue of probably bioterrorism. Ecosystem services, microbes are involved, like even in pollination, some microbes are very useful. The rhizosphere microbes, which are important, and when the plants are healthy, they can pollinate well. Biosecurity issue, bio weapons can be used to incapacitate, cause massive destruction, and a lot of things. So there are ways in which they can be mitigated. In a nutshell, macros play diverse roles in mitigating insecurity, from food and environmental security to human health and economic security. These are some of the gradual or strategic stages for effective deployment of gradual non-kinetic microbiological approach to mitigate insecurity in northern Nigeria. I just think if these are followed, probably it may be useful. Stage one, as pre-planning stage, you can take it for 4 months, you can have baseline stage, where you determine current security situations, and then what are the socio-economic conditions that led to that, and then what are the microbiological strategies, what can microbiologists do to now key in to ensure security. And then, yes, you identify the main stakeholders that you can engage, like the local communities, traditional leaders, government agencies, and we expose them to microbiological approach and let them appreciate, as a microbiologist, you have a role to play in ensuring security. Also, you can develop test implementation plan, like you define the specific objectives that are measurable, attainable, and result-oriented. And you must have timeline for effectiveness. Then the resources required, and then of course capacity building and awareness are important. Like you need to establish a particular microbiological lab. You set up the lab, you support the research, testing, and training. You also train personnel on microbiological techniques, simple microbiological techniques that can add value to their own local life and empower them economically. Yes, safety procedures are important, and you also stimulate awareness over time. You plan to execute workshops on people so that they are enlightened in not too academic way, but the application of microbiology to their daily affairs, seminars, etc., etc. And then you need to undertake piloting and demonstration. You can initiate small microbiological projects, for example, bioremediation, and inject it into the community so that they appreciate it. Biofertilization products using microbiological protocols, microbiological pest control, bacterial-assisted patho-remediation, while use plant and also use useful bacteria like the mycorrhizal fungi, etc., so that you now also production of farmyard manure, for example, through compost using organic waste from gutter in local communities. They have their gutters, it's a noise to the environment, it can spread. Professional body at higher level. That one is institutionalization. When they are recognized, they will be able to perform and regulate some of the microbiological activities going on so that there is, overlapping. Also, we just get application of one we mentioned, application of microbiological forensic to prevent insurgency. How do you now use microbes in crime detection to prevent insurgency? You can do this in several ways. For example, you can undertake forensic analysis, whereby you identify the origin of the microbes, and this can track the biological evidence, such as DNA found at the crime scene. Also, you can make use of trace evidence. For example, we have different microbiomes. My own microbiomes are different from yours. So if I commit a crime, when on the crime scene, any evidence or microbiological evidence, it can be associated with the suspect. And also geolocations. The different soils have different microbial composition. So when you take the soil sample, maybe from an animal moving from that direction, or even from the shoe, you can now analyze the microbiology and can associate the victim with his microbiome and also direct after some other further analysis the crime to him. Also localization through animal microbiome. For example, somebody associating with animal already, the microbiomes can
short knickers. No, read this one. There is pump and shop can black. David, is your POS on? Accept 2,000. Then bring sales book. Let me write.
Why the first when you take the water sample, you analyze it, the macros, when it relates to the one found in them, you can associate and relate the crime to them. Also, the issue of bioterrorism detection, where there is exposure to bioweapons for massive destruction, incapacitation, and bioterrorism, you can now undertake, you can detect the pathogens, you can do biosensing, and you can use investigation tools like microbial DNA analysis, microbial community analysis, and at the end of the day, you are able to now get a solution. Next. We can prevent insurgency through some of these ways. For example, early detection. You can use microbes to early detect the insurgency within the microbial communities, peculiar in a particular. Darkness and stability, the insecurity will remain. Economic development, which is vital, and social well-being. These are some of the recommendations addressing root causes of insecurity. What are the root causes? Such as economic inequality, poverty, and you ensure and promoting microbiological-based solutions, like microbial-based entrepreneurship. Microbiologists are entrepreneurial force. How do we exploit it to make and multiply money? For example, food microbiology is economic microbiology. This is why we can make and multiply money using microbiological tools. And that may impact lives and provide economic opportunities. Also, how do we facilitate stability through community engagement? How do we prevent the private sector's engagement? How will they utilize resources, expertise, as well as effective funding on microbial-based initiatives. Yes, of course, the government partnership was a view to integrate and institutionalize microbiological-based initiatives into strategic plans and developmental programs. This strategic plan of universities, they can be introduced, like in the next 5 years, let's say, microbiologically, how do we become? And I'm happy the DBC keep mentioning the sustainability for more than 3 years now, or 3 years now, they maintain this conference. International collaboration or cooperation is essential because not all fingers are equal, but every finger has its own function. The way we view it, it may be different from others. So when we now brainstorm, blend, we'll be able to have perfect and viable solution. Next. Okay, I'm done. Thank you very much. I'm sorry. Thank you very much. I did not be part of the presentation, and I'm sorry for the lapses. And I'm happy that the DBC academics tell me is the nature of the responsibility of the office. I remain grateful, and please extend my salutation to the Vice Chancellor for giving me the opportunity in 2016 today to be given for University, which I feel I satisfy my own responsibility as a Dean of Kaduna State. The opportunity given to me, I will not take it for granted, and I will continue to deliver my mandate for the benefit of the UMYU community and the state at large. Thank you, and allow the abundantly.
Thank you very much, Prof. For this intellectually stimulating presentation. The first thing that I will do after this presentation is open the comments. The comment of the Vice Chancellor himself. I was just can't help relate to the presentation with the area of research expertise of Prof. No Prof is an agricultural geographist, is an environmentalist, pioneer of the faculty of environmental and health science. I believe he has a lot to say for Prof.
Thank you very much for the honor. And let me use this opportunity to, on behalf of the organizers of this conference, welcome the Dean of the Faculty of Basic Medical Sciences, Dr. Hafsat is with us. Can you stand up for recognition, ma'am? Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I keep saying that when you honor invitations from the academics, you will get something. No matter how knowledgeable you are, when you attend academic functions such as this, you will learn something new. I have learned a lot that will improve my career, as like I was introduced by the speaker, agricultural geographer and an environmentalist. The first time I heard about soil forensic was in 2012 at the International Conference of Soil Science at Hobart, Australia. We were there and someone wanted to speak on soil forensic. What is soil forensic again? All my life in soil science, I have never heard of it. And, but like I said, that's knowledge. It was discussed, we sought for explanation, we got it. And this is the second time I'm hearing of forensic used to detect crime, whereby the lead speaker, my brother, professor, is telling us that microbiome on our bodies differ. And so you can relate them with what you found on an individual and what was found on the crime scene to relate and come up with scientifically telling the culprit that you are the one that did this. The scientific, don't worry about it. Am I right, sir? Yes, because the microbiome found on the skin and those found on the body of an individual carry, so you cannot deny. Now, in agriculture, which is the backbone of the economy of northwestern Nigeria, has gone down. The potential of agriculture has gone down. And that is because of the cost of input. The major input required in agriculture composting, compost making, of which the backbone materials used in making compost are microorganisms. It costs nothing. You gather waste, you compost either through dip or heap making. You introduce, in fact, you don't even need to introduce the microorganisms, they introduce themselves. And you have healthy fertilizer that will improve your income as well as improve your output. The yield is increased, and through that, your income has gone up. The input, the cost of buying has been reduced because you don't need to now buy fertilizer. And so, if you have this dual advantage, the livelihood of the family will improve, their health will increase. If you are healthy, why go into crime? I'm not standing in for the criminal, but I know that crime has influence on, I mean, influence that relation between poverty and criminal. So I think, like Prof has mentioned, not only through agriculture. When you take food microbiology, food microbiology, industrial microbiology, all of this, when properly harnessed standard living conditions, and with that, crime can be reduced or eliminated. So,
See what? Like I said, as a young I follow your presentation from the beginning to the last attentively. Also, Professor also commended why he showed interest in collaboration. But I just want to, as a very young person, and humility, I'm saying it again. There is aspects which it cannot be an oversight, but maybe due to conceptualization of the topic, it was skipped away, which is climate change. I think aspect of microbiology related to beauty in this area, climate change cannot be overlooked. Looking at its great impact from the emanating first and early stage of life. Climate change is one of the pressing concerns globally now at different dimensions. To probably wish to, on their subsequent trend of expanding this research or actualizing it, practicalize it, I think climate change should be incorporated, look at various aspects where it can alter the this aspect. Thank you very much, sir, for the opportunity.
Another area for expansion because our DBC also is a climate change expertise. So let me give so that you can respond to them. The idea is that the HOD biochemistry enormous
let me start on the protocol. I'd love to add to what the last speaker said. I think the keynote speaker is not only academic, but it's just truly the epitome of humility. If you know him, you know who he is. By staying with him, you will learn so many things, not only academic, but about life in general. Secondly, this idea of using our refuse dump from our gutters, from our sewage to develop organic manure, I think it's now common practice within our locality. I've been thinking for some time now, one of the key components of our refuse dump is the polythene bags. We use pure water and the rest. And we know that they are non-biodegradable, they are carcinogenic, they cause cancer. Happens as we keep using this, refuse dump as manure. What will happen in the next couple of years? Are we introducing something into our farm that maybe in the future may affect us? So I think the whole idea of
okay, you're coming
to go into it to come up with solution. Thank you very much. Something the last speaker, Muhammad Kabir from Uju, is on sabbatical leave at Muzma and currently as head of the department medical lab science at Muzma. So,
thank you very much. Actually, let me start
please. Bring white leather.
With the network, which he has just
bring white leather. He's right there.
I want to emphasize this environmental microbiology, especially on the issue of biodegradation and bioremediation. As we all know, bioremediation is an area using the microorganisms to convert the waste into a useful substrate that can be used by the community. It's a very important area which actually most of the people neglect. We have a lot of waste you can see from the finger that you already mentioned. We have some plastic, like these ones, and there are some of them that even if you leave them for many years in the soil, they are not biodegradable. If they are not biodegradable, then how do you recycle them? We need to use them, recycle them, so we make them to some important things that we can make use in our life. So this is an area whereby I think the presenter should collaborate with maybe some PhD students, get out a research, a lot of things will come out of it, which I'm sure microorganisms play a vital role in this environment, in this bioremediation and biodegradation. We can see there are a lot of microorganisms which are useful in combating some of these, because some of these things, as you said, they are carcinogenic. In Malaysia, they have gone a long way in making sure that most of the polythene bags are no longer used to put food inside. Because when you put food inside this polythene bag, the chemicals there will accumulate in the food, and when it is, it may be carcinogenic. So now Malaysia has banned the use of polythene bags in putting food, anything food. Because when the food is hot, it will accumulate with the chemicals in the polythene bag and in the phosphorus. So now they make use of the paper. You can put the food in the paper, wrap it, and then put it in the nylon bag. But now to put food directly into the nylon bag is bad. So why our country should also make such move to reduce the.
Give me your calculator.
So you can see a lot of. And it might be from this nylon bag that we put food inside. People will be eating the food, and with time, the cancer and this chemical will accumulate with our body tissue and cells, and then the cancer will be developed. So I think it's a very important presentation that we should try to get some PhD students that work on bioremediation and bioremediation, so that we can come out with something important that will help our community. Thank you very much.
Before I invite the speaker to respond, just to serve as an addendum on what has been presented, more especially the use of forensic application in detecting the criminality. Just last semester, I was taking one course forensic science to one level medical lab student. We have seen the application that biochemists will come in, even those in physics will come in, biologists, agriculturists, medical lab scientists, those in medicine, those in microbiology, and all other aspects. All these areas will come in to put their hands together in the forensic investigation. More especially, the money has been spent by government in kinetic approach to all these reduced criminality, insecurity, insurgency. But less has been spent in reducing and mitigating the insecurity using non-kinetic with all these approaches, all these applications. In Europe, in developed countries, they are using a lot of money in using non-kinetic than kinetic. They are using a lot of money, their government uses a lot of money in all these forensic science, in forensic in crime detection. They don't need to call it. That's what they call crime scene investigation, whereby when something happens, they will send all the expertise to go and collect oil samples. Whoever, the air sample, even the air. Now, if there's any element of criminality in this board now, the air sample will be collected, taken to the lab, do the analysis. The soil sample will be collected. Our fingerprints, the hand, all the prime suspects, they will collect their remnants and go to the lab and do the analysis. They will make the comparison.
Give me calculator.
Inside the lab to detect the potential person who caused that crime. If the Nigerian government will utilize the application of all this, it will be easy to detect if there is any happening in Basari. And those criminals, we know what their dwelling areas. Go there, collect the air sample, soil sample, come and test that. But everybody has its own unique DNA, unique fingerprint, unique all these. Collect even their breathing, you collect it, enter the lab, do the analysis, come and make the comparison. You will go and detect using all these biotechnology to tell who and who and how to eliminate those criminals. You don't need to always using kinetic forces. Oh, tell the truth. You can use the non-kinetic, use bioterrorism. There are some that you can uh, utilize and target only those criminals. You can enter the lab, prepare the genes to target only those criminals that they are in the forest, in the bush. But in the lab, you make your analysis. You are targeting Mr. A, he is a criminal, nowhere to be found, but you know the area he is living. Based on the air, based on the collection, you will target the genes, the bioterrorism genes, that will go, you release it, it will go and just find those potential, eliminate them, and isolate. We say that elimination by isolation. They will isolate.
Intentionally
avoid some other areas because in every presentation you have a central goal and a focus. You have a particular message you want the participant to carry home as a recap and take it home. And importantly, the major aspect I have interest in the forensic microbiology. That is why I intentionally avoid some other aspects. Climate change microbiology is a very wide area. I think epidemiology has been applied in the infectious disease spreads. You know, climatic factors play a role. For example, not long ago in there was the case of this diphtheria, where many children were even dying in school. They didn't know because of the particular weather conditions. So climate change microbiology is another aspect of its own, which I feel I have a particular emphasis on this presentation. Brother, the HOD biochemistry, currently I have a project student working on political because it worries me. I remember when this service provider started, the chargeable card was not biodegradable. Gradually, they came out with paper type, which is biodegradable, and later they now use number. All this to ensure that the environment is safe and conducive. And for my prop, I cannot remember the aspects you mentioned. Okay, general comment. Actually, I really agree. And it doesn't cost you anything. Microorganisms, that is why there is no societal pressure of using microorganisms. It's not somebody's goat or sheep you caught to slaughter. You can just get them. They are available. Like I used to say that in bio-weapons aspect, kitchen is laboratory. Kitchen, there is no difference between kitchen and laboratory. You have media, the food. You have autoclave, the cooking gas and other things. The wire look, the spoons, the petri dishes, and the plates. So in bio-weapons, you don't need a lab. Kitchen, they use kitchen at their lab. Because in bioterrorism, they can steal microorganisms, you take them, genetically modify them, and they cause it for massive destruction. And a lot of other things. I'm happy with the moderator when he mentioned that there is need to put much emphasis on the non-kinetic approach. They are costless, they are cost effective, and you can effectively use them. And you can engage everyone. You need little knowledge. For example, as my BBC Academy mentioned, in composting, local people can do it. But if you give it microbiological and agricultural touch, it may be more viable and more relevant. You may need little quantity to apply, and you can easily sort it well so that you have the one that can give good soil health, and when the soil is healthy, you know it can give high yield. And also it goes down to the health, because when you use organic farming, even health-wise, it has its own benefits. Because most of the living diseases we are facing today is from the food we eat. So thank you very much. I hope I made an attempt to thank you. Thank you for answering some of the questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for responding to all the observations. I think we are already on. Can we have maybe some selected questions, if any, before we? No questions? So I will hand over the mic to MC Inshallah for closing this session. You remember, we said the first session is the keynote presentation, then the next session will start, maybe the technical session will start. So the information on how the technical session will go, I think they arrange it concurrently to not allowing the physical and virtual session. So then we'll hear it from them.
Thank you very much, Prof. With this, we highly appreciate our invited guests and thank you very much for honoring our invitation. And after our invited guests are gone, we shall have a technical session. Technical sessions will begin within this venue, while virtual sessions will occur outside. So we are presenting physically, we will be moderator, the assistant for next slides, the presentation of teaching. Here, we invite other members of the present. virtual presentation sessions are very interesting. MashaAllah, we are happy to welcome Professor Samani Mahmoud Matagarawa, the Director of Research and Linkages. A round of applause. The Vice Chancellor, who is also the Deputy Vice Chancellor, the Dean of Faculty of Natural and Applied Sciences, other distinguished guests, my fellow colleagues, lecturers, students, ladies and gentlemen, please, I'm very sorry, I'm just arriving when I'm told that I should give a brief closing remark. Indeed, I have not much to say, but of course, to sincerely appreciate the efforts of the Department of Microbiology and in fact the university in general for its continuous effort in ensuring that this annual event, which is the international conference being organized by the Department of Microbiology in conjunction with Faculty of Natural and Applied Sciences, is being continuous and being very successful. I'm quite delighted to note that substantial progress is being made in the sense that nowadays we are being digital. And so in view of that, the majority of the presentations, if not more than 90%, are going to be virtual. However, the department still decided to, as a usual event, also to organize the opening ceremony, which is quite interesting. And I wish the participants that will be able to present their well articulated or such presentations, a very successful presentation. And for those of us that will be around, that will be sharing the various sessions, which I wish us very successful deliberations. And this is quite interesting in the sense that most of the presentations are being virtual, but I do hope that it is not because the state is being seen as not a safe zone or a safe area, but rather probably people are now becoming digital, that is why. Yes. Be rest assured that the state is safe. And everybody is free to come at any time, whether virtually or physically to make their presentation. So I wish us a very successful presentation. And I do hope at the end of the day, a very successful and fruitful outcomes will come out of it. And I'm happy to announce that, of course, the Department of Microbiology, and of course, the Journal of Microbiology is one of the most successful journals that is coming out of virtually the whole of northern Nigeria. Now, just to present the journal editor of the scientific that they have just now applied or are pursuing the outcome of their subscription. So this journal is gaining a lot of international recognition. And I do believe out of these several presentations that here, quite a number of papers after a rigorous review will be published in that very famous journal. And which is a successful celebration. Thank you once again. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Rob, for your warm closing remarks. I'd like to bring the members of the invited guests for us to have a group photograph before they leave. Thank you. Remain here.
So please, if you are here for this presentation, you can come here to register your paper. To register to give you a slide so that we can arrange them in the computer. So that just take the 5-10 minutes so that we can start. And those who have the arrangement has been made.
Physical market? Okay, cool. Ba ni za a ba da yake wannan tabatuwan ce, so akwai wanda muka aje gashi nan. But da an gama wannan group wannan na ina ne kace kuka na ICT ne wannan kuma wannan ne nasu ne bai yi kace Hey. Oh, lecture. One. Hey, router ne dole. Inshallah. Directly, I okay.